success is hard, right? Because you're going to go through failure. And even from 2012 till now, I've had many, many failures, but I've just learned to keep success and failure together. I don't separate them. I look at them as one today.
I've learned to keep success and failure together.
You have to elaborate on that.
Yeah. Oh, we're going deep this
already.
Evening. Yes.
Well, if you look back at your life, and most people that are watching,
hold the mic closer a little bit.
You know, if you look back at your life, or most people that are watching this, they'll realize that most of their successes came after some of their greatest failures. If you really study how all of this came about, it was because of a failure. If you didn't have that failure, you wouldn't have the success that you have today. And if you didn't have the success that you're having today, you wouldn't have the failure that you're going to have tomorrow.
If you didn't have the success that you're having today, you wouldn't have the failure.
I thought we'd be at least 30 minutes in before he started.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Because I'm already having to single out statements. And if you didn't have the success that you're having today, then you wouldn't have the failure that you're. So ultimately, success and failure are both inevitable.
Yeah.
And failure's coming.
Think about it. You were in a network marketing company.
Yeah.
It was the greatest success you had in business.
Yep.
But it turned out to be one of your greatest failures. But it led to what you're doing today.
That is true.
That's a fact.
That is true.
I would like, I'm starting to see you started in the MLM industry, and it seemed like maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so, or it started. For one, when I was 18, I was like, yo, this is amazing. You mean I don't have to build a company? I just sell the product that they have? Oh my gosh. And, you know, it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? But it seemed like as time went on, the industry got more and more, I don't want to use the word saturated, but more people knew about it.
Yeah.
You know, you could explain it one time and they're like, what? Hold on. You mean, hold on, 3 people. That's all I need, right? they didn't even hear it before, right?
Right.
But then more people got hip to it. Did you ever think like, man, this is going to be over, this industry as a whole at some point?
No, I never thought that. Yeah.
Why not?
Because everything is network marketing. And if you understand the premise of it, it's all about building a network. And what we do as business owners, you have to invest quite a bit of money to actually run a business, right? It takes a lot. Network marketing is a great start for a lot of people that may not have the capital to start a business and actually run the business because that business is already created for them. They may move on 3, 4, 5 years later to something else, but it does give them that great start that they need to actually build up capital. More importantly, get the personal self-development that's needed in order for them to go on and be successful at something else.
Yeah, that was my start. That was your start. I mean, not start, but
it was,
in terms of like more money.
Yeah. I mean, it was the simplest thing that I believe that I've done to date. But in that moment, it didn't feel so simple at all. It didn't feel simple at all. It was the biggest. So at the time that I got started in network marketing, I was on the back end of having lost everything due to, foreclosures and repossessions. And at the time I had a job. I was working as a property manager. I was also still juggling my clothing store, and I needed something like quick. I needed a quick influx of cash. And even though that didn't really happen at first, I didn't get a quick influx of cash, but you'd be surprised what that $500 a week or a month or whatever will do for the average person. And when I saw that, when my mindset was so focused on, I need to make another 6 figures, I need to make another 6 figures or get back to 6 figures. But that $250 a week, that $500 a week, that every now and then $1,500 or more, it was literally life-changing for me in that moment. And that's why I went so hard for the industry and still do. I'm still a huge advocate for it because most people are just one paycheck away from the worst experience of their lives. And that was something real that you didn't have to be super smart to do. You didn't have to have a whole lot of money to do. And you didn't really have to know a whole lot of people. You just had to be sick and tired of your situation and share whatever it was that you were selling. That was the key for me, and it changed my life for sure.
Yeah. When I started, the industry was generating about $35 billion a year. Today, or last year, generated $325 billion. the industry of network marketing. So when people say, well, will it ever be over? It's as long as there are people, right?
Yeah.
And their products and services to be sold, it's always going to be an industry that thrives. It's actually created more new millionaires than any other industry since 1978. But a lot of people are not aware of that because there's so much misconception about the industry that people don't really understand the power behind it.
Hopefully we'll clear it up today because it literally saved my life. I mean, I never seen Black men in ties that aren't going to court.
Or church.
Yeah, I'm looking at the front of the room and I'm like, they did what? They did what? And then I'm thinking, okay, well, if you see a successful person, they have some sort of unique product or service that they created. And I'm like, oh, I'm not as creative to come up with a cool brand like that.
Yeah.
But all the people on the stage had the same exact product, same exact back office, same exact room to do a presentation, the same system. Right. And I said, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And that's when I stopped like trying to be Mr. Create It All. And I said, oh, let me just go into a system and then use my creativity to just get this message out and be coachable, like from people like you, right? So do you remember your first emotion from your first company and
Absolutely.
What did you see?
Yeah, I was 21 years old and I got invited to a hotel meeting, Holiday Inn Select off 59 and Kirby, right there in Houston, Texas. And I'll never forget when I walked in the room, there was a gentleman to my left. And at the time I'd heard a story. He was making $30,000 a month. And that was 2004? So I'm like, wait a minute. That's what people make a year. That's a good job.
For sure.
Back then, right? And this guy's making it per month. So I just made a decision that this was what I was going to do to win. And it didn't happen for 5 years. I didn't win in this industry for 5 years. And I think that's probably why I appreciate it a whole lot more. I've watched people come in to the industry now, their first year, 2 years, 3 years, make millions.
Yeah.
But it took me 5 years to make $80,000 total. So the emotion was one of drive. It was one of determination. It was one of, I was not going to quit. I was going to figure it out one way or another that this was going to happen. But I knew that network marketing was the way I was going to get it done. Immediately. I knew it.
Was it something logical or is it just emotional? Like, did you see that? Was it number? Like, I want to put myself in a young David's mindset because there are some people out there that maybe they saw it, but they didn't see it. They didn't tie something emotionally.
Yeah. I think it was more so all my bridges were burned. I'd gone to school. That was the way, right, to be successful. And I was there for 4 years. I went to college for 4 years, and I graduated as a sophomore. You'll get it on the way home.
That's what just hit me. I said, hold on, wait a minute.
Sophomore.
So I had 32 credits after 4 years of schooling. So I was a failure. So when I saw the opportunity, I saw a way out. I saw a way for me to get to the lifestyle that I hadn't even dreamt about. I saw it through someone else. I saw it through the life of someone else that was making $30,000 a month. And I just dived into it. I saw a way for me to help people get what they wanted. And in return, I would get what it is that I wanted. And then what I fell in love with was the personal self-development. That's the big thing that a lot of people miss out on this industry, is that it exposes you to the right people, the right books, the right information that is going to serve you far greater than any amount of money you're going to make. And by the way, you're not going to get to the money without the personal growth anyway.
Yeah.
So you need that.
To this day, I still credit the network marketing industry for any amount of success that I've achieved at this level. Even though we've far succeeded like what I was able to do financially, I still credit it. I can remember giving David so much pushback. So you guys, when you see me talk about my very first mentor, like real mentor that just wasn't on the internet, this is who I'm talking about. David Amanitier.
Oh, not Shans.
Not Shans.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
I've mentored you. Okay,
right. Of course you have.
I've had to teach her so much these last few years. Of course, Coach,
put me in the game. So when you guys see me talk about my first mentor, this is the gentleman that I've always talked about. And I remember giving you so much pushback. I was not feeling it. Like I was, at that time I was making a decision. When we first met, I was making the decision about whether I would close my clothing store or take it online. And you said something about a simpler online style of business and, blah, blah, blah. And I remember David sent me this Success magazine. You were in Success magazine. And I was telling my best friend, like, yeah, I know this guy and he's super sharp in business. And he said he could help me with my online business. And I showed Bree the Success magazine. Bree knew exactly who you were. She's like, that's that David guy. He's made millions in, like from home and online. And at this time, it was a beverage product. And she's like, oh, we're doing it. No, we're not. We are not doing it. Because I had always been taught that the network marketing / MLM industry is a scam. Mm-hmm. This is what I've been taught. Oh, this is a pyramid scheme. Only that person at the top is going to make all the money. And they recruit all these other people to come and work under them and blah, blah, blah. So fast forward, I put David and Bree, I'm at work, on a 3-way call. I put them on the phone, but I'm at work. I have to put my phone in my desk drawer because I'm not allowed to take this phone call, right? I'm at work. So David and Bree, do whatever, get started. And David tells Bree, I'll sign you up, but I don't, at this level in my career, I don't work with beginners, but I'm mentoring Donnie anyway. So you guys are a package deal. I get back to the phone and Bree is like, we're signed up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? So I'm telling David, like, I just don't think this is for me. And I don't know if you remember, but you said something so slick to me that I felt so stupid. He's like, so you're in a position with your business where you don't really know what you're going to do. You're kind of broke, right?
Kind of broke.
Sir, don't disrespect me like that, right? He's like, what doesn't make sense is you having to sneak and take phone calls like you're a grown person. Then he invites us to Savannah, Georgia. You're having a meeting. I'm ready to rip this plan apart. I'm going to show him the fraud that he is. He's a scam and everything that so you go, like my first time seeing you in person, I don't remember the hotel, but we're in Savannah, Georgia. Me and Bree drive down and I'm sitting in the back of the room and David's standing in the back of the room waiting to be introduced. These guys next to me are like freaking out. They are losing their minds. They're like, all hail King David and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm telling Brie, I told you this was a scam. This doesn't even feel right. Cult leader. So he goes up to the front of the room and he's got his whiteboard like you do, your flip chart, and he's talking. And everything he's saying, I'm writing everything down. You know how I take notes. I'm writing everything down. I'm like, yep, the scam is not there. Okay, I'm gonna keep listening, right? I'm still writing. I'm like, okay, well, everything you said just made so much sense. Number one, it was literal sense, but it was also biblical sense, and you couldn't refute it. And it was there that I realized, it was in that moment that I realized most people are just so closed-minded. Right. And I have an opportunity. I can keep listening to the people who are going to try to convince me that this is not a good industry to be in, and I could live their life based on their decisions, or I can see the level of success that I want to be and have somebody real that I can touch and talk to and get on the phone. Let me try something different. I went all in that day.
But look at what you guys do, though. It's the same thing. How many people have a podcast?
A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
How many people are successful at it?
Far less.
Right?
Far less.
Right.
So what if someone came and said, podcast is scam?
Yeah.
Because so many people have tried it, are doing it, and they're not having the level of success. That's why people said that about network marketing. Yeah. Well, I tried that and it didn't work for me, so it's got to be a scam.
Yeah.
Or the one that you said was a really good one. Only the people at the top make the most money. You know what I tell people when they tell me that? I say, you're right. Only the people at the top make the most money.
Right.
But before you get all bent out of shape about that, I want you to introduce me to the industry where all the people at the bottom make the most money. Show me that industry, and then let's talk. Oh, it doesn't exist. Oh, okay. So why don't we help you get to the top?
I am so excited about this conversation because I felt like I've watched a small portion, the tail end of your journey, because you've been successful for a long time. And I was a part of a company called Paycation. Correct. And that's when I guess, like met you.
Right.
and you are a leader of the most successful organization in this company. And it was a multi-level marketing company. It was all around travel. Actually, that's how I met Donnie and Donnie Wiggins. She was a part of your organization. My mentor, Jonathan Green, Spencer Iverson, Mark Sterling, all these people, they're a part of your team. And I just saw you lead tens of thousands of people. And I remember us being excited. It was like a celebration. Like, we have 20,000 agents in Paycation. Anybody remember Paycation? Anybody ever was a part of that company? It's like a travel company where you make money by introducing travel benefits. 20,000 people. And that was huge for the industry, right? And I saw a post on Facebook where you have 80,000 people who have joined your company. I'm trying to get to 10,000 people in my morning meetup group. So I need some help. So, Mr. Donald Bradley, give him a round of applause. How you feeling, brother?
Amazing. Thank you for the invite today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mad respect with what you have accomplished as well. That's why I'm here.
Man, yep. I want to know, again, 80,000 plus agents. Can you explain to someone what that means when I say that they don't understand? What does that mean, 80,000?
Just creating a movement, just like you're doing here. It's a process that actually I started 18 years ago. So that's the part I think that most people miss. And I know I've seen lots of your journey and your success, and it didn't start in this beautiful, amazing studio, right? So just a process. 18 years ago, David, I started in network marketing in 2005. And didn't understand it. Matter of fact, had a law that I would never do network marketing, right? Because you hear all the the pyramid, the scheme, and we typically it's misconceived. And quite honestly, when I joined it, I didn't know I was joining network marketing. I thought I was joining the travel industry back in 2005, and got involved in it and became educated, and fell in love with residual income. Yeah, always loved travel, but once I got involved, I fell in love with the idea of making residual income and helping other people do the same thing.
Yeah. So Plan Net Marketing. Tell me about the program.
Okay. 7 years ago, October 2015, I decided if I was going to stay in the industry, I needed to create my own so I could control the destiny of the people that was following me. I was blessed to have a following, develop a following over the years. And as you and I both know, the only way to really be able to control the destiny of the people who are following you is to create your own, right? Was fortunate to be, at the top of some of the other companies. But if I was going to stay in the industry, I had a vision of my own. And 7 years ago, I decided to, start Planet Marketing, and I did.
So what are the benefits of the company, and why do people get started?
Two things. There's only two reasons why people would join Planet Marketing is to supplement their income and supplement their lifestyle. In the largest, most attractive industry in the world, which happens to be travel. So my company, Planet Marketing, we show people how to build teams and earn long-term sustainable residual income. I've partnered with a 30-year-old reputable travel company by the name of IntelliTravel that shows people how to book travel for people anywhere around the world, online and offline, and make commissions off of it. So those two companies together, we went into an exclusive agreement. So we have a marketing company that sells travel agencies, and we're partnered with a travel company that sells travel all around the world.
I love it. So with these, the people that are agents in the company, right? How much? First off, how much is it to have a membership or be a part of it? How much is it?
To join both companies combined is $200 one-time investment, $60 a month, $2 a day.
$60 a month. Do you have 80,000 people paying $60 a month?
Yes. I mean, to join the company.
I'm sorry, but my curiosity is not going to let me let this go. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay?
But yes, we have people that are joining our company and paying $60 a month for a benefit to be involved in the largest industry in the world, not as consumers, but as merchants, businessmen and businesswomen, and entering the world of entrepreneurship.
82,000 entrepreneurs. Out of all the things they could do as an entrepreneur, right? How did you attract this many people to what you're doing? And all the things somebody could do.
Well, people recognize the need to have multiple streams of income. Especially it's been highlighted during the pandemic that you can't rely on one single stream of income because things change. Society is rapidly changing, and the way that our parents and grandparents, David, made money is becoming outdated. So 99% of those individuals work this part-time while they're still educators, while they're still, lawyers, while they're still, engineers. There are very few businesses that you can have when you're still, when you are practicing law, or you're an engineer for a corporation, or you're a VP of a company. Here, with all the technology that we employ, because everything's digital, people are able to supplement their income, supplement their lifestyle, while still focusing on their full-time career.
Gotcha.
That's one of the keys.
At the age of 18, I got introduced to my first network marketing company. And I remember trying to go and sign up, and they said I needed a bank account. I didn't have a bank account. So I went to Bank of America to try to open up an account, and they told me I already have an account with them. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Someone had, I won't say any names, but someone had created a bank account and ran up the credit. So I couldn't open up a bank account.
What's your mama? First guess, got to be.
I'm just going, I love my mom, my dad, so but hey, that's what happened. And so I was like, well, I can't do it. 3 years later is when it got reintroduced to me again. I was like, oh, I remember this. And that's when I got involved.
Oh, so you had an idea, somebody introduced it to you. Because you didn't have a bank account, you just gave up.
Just gave up. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I think I was maybe a freshman in college. And I pledged a fraternity, and that was it. That was my life after that.
Dang, that's crazy. I know you see that a lot, though. I mean, yours was, a bank account issue, but there's always some reason.
Right.
But I was talking to somebody about it. They have this business idea, they want to build it, and I'm saying, yo, you should invest in yourself. And his reply was, no lie, I can't make this up. He said, well, what if my mom gets in a car accident and I got to pay for her hospital bills? And I'm being sensitive, like, oh, did that happen? He said, no, but I'm saying, what would I do? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Where do
I
people get
think
that
a
from?
lot of people look for reasons why they can't do something versus looking for the reasons why they can. And that all goes back to programming. He only said that because he's been programmed to think a certain way. Yeah. And in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, it says you do things in a certain way, you'll get rich. But also, if you do things in a certain way, that may keep you in that broke zone as well. So I think that's probably why.
What were some of so when it came back around 3 years later, did you see some social proof, like some people that were winning from when you first started 3 years ago? And he was like, oh, well, maybe I need to do it?
Yeah, well, the first thing was I was hungry, right? I really didn't even need to see anybody else winning. I wanted it for myself. But when I did go to the meeting, I remember seeing a young man. He was probably around in his early 30s at that time, mid 30s at that time, and he was making about $30,000 a month. And I was like, whoa, that's what people make a year. He's making that per month. I'm like, okay. So that kind of gave me some evidence that, okay, this could work.
Got you. So you first get started. What was the company? You mind sharing?
Prepaid Legal. Yes, Prepaid Legal. It's now Legal Shield. Great company. Right. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. So, But I was in that company for 2 years. I hit the level of executive director. My best month was $5,000, and I'm 21, 22 years old when this happened. So, really excited at that time. And but total in the 2 years that I was in that company, I probably only made about $35,000.
Really? Yeah. Even hitting the top of the company?
Well, executive director, that was the top, but it really wasn't the top. Right. That was like the first level everybody wanted to get to.
Right, for sure. I was actually, and I was telling you a second ago, I was talking to one of my mentors, Jonathan Green. Really, when I got started, that was the person I looked at in terms of personal development, just really raising me in business. And I was telling him, I was interviewing you. He said, man, I remember he came to my house, or y'all linked up, and he said, yo, what do I have to do to make $100,000? So he's showing you how you can make $100,000 a month, right? And then he said he came to you a few years later, and he was asking you, okay, I need you to teach me how to make $100,000 a month. So he tried to teach you how to make $100,000 a year. you got to teach him how to make $100,000 a month.
Right.
So
I think the Bible says that, right? The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So, I've seen that quite a bit happen in several different industries, and he was one of those inspirations, along with a lot of other people that inspired me to go out and be successful.
Got you. So you left Prepaid Legal, and then you got started in another company, right?
Yep. Got started in an energy drink company.
Really?
Yep. They said this was going to be the next Gatorade, the next Monster, the next 5 Hour Energy. So got involved in that, and 30 days later, people started to get sick off of the energy drink.
What?
Yeah. So I said, no, we can't do that any longer. And then I swore I would never do network marketing again.
Really? Did you go to like traditional job?
No, because I had been out of work for almost 2.5 years, so no one would hire me. Right. So I started teaching tennis with my dad. So I would wake up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, teach tennis with him till about 12, because in Houston it gets really, really hot. And then I would be home. And I was just literally a bum, literally for like 6 months. And a guy called me about another network marketing company, and this one had to do with travel. And he's like, David, this is going to be big. It's going to be huge. Everybody travels. I said, no, everybody doesn't travel because I don't travel.
Right. You're a part of everybody.
Right, I'm part of everybody, right? But he hounded me for 6 months, and finally he got to sit down with me, and I said yes, and I was back into network marketing again. This was a travel company.
Did you make money?
I did okay. 2008, my 1099 that year was $45,000.
Well, step up.
Hey, it's much. That was the best I had done after 4 years in network marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long were you in the travel company?
I was in that company for 2 years and 3 months.
And
then
why'd you leave?
Well, the company got hit with a lawsuit. In, I think it was August or September.
Was this YTB?
YTB.
Oh,
You're a travel. There you go. And I didn't leave after that. I was like, we're going to fight it. We're going to make it happen. It doesn't matter. We're going after Expedia. We're going all the nonsense.
Right.
And but it was so challenging because people would come to a meeting, they would get involved, they would go home, hit Google, and first thing they saw,
for sure,
YTV scam, lawsuit, and they would quit the next day. So it made it really difficult. I probably stayed about another 6 months, 6 or 7 months after the lawsuit.
Right.
But no, it was just real difficult. That company is not, they're not in business now.
Right.
It's another company now.
Right.
But after that, I got my big break in the coffee business. Yeah.
So I always had, because I signed up, only because Green said, yo, this is what we doing. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. I ain't make no money, but like, for one, the ticket was so expensive, and I'm like, the coffee, the coffee's okay, right? But I still see, here's the crazy thing. I still see that Green, he still drinks the coffee, and you got a pack too. I'm like, okay, I see why y'all made money. Y'all really believed in it.
Right.
But how was this happening, yo? Because it was like $1,000 to sign up.
No, it was $1,388. That's what it was. It was almost $1,400. You know, with belief, man, you can do anything. You know, and we had a lot of belief in the product. We had a lot of belief in the compensation plan. We had a lot of belief in the leadership that we were following, and it was new. You know, it had never been done before. And I think Starbucks made it easy though, because Starbucks was selling coffee for $4 a cup.
Right.
So we tell people, hey, $1 a cup, $1.50 a cup. You know, it made sense. And then the health component to it. You know, look at me, I'm about to sign you back up, right? And I'm not even in the company.
Right. Let's get to the Ganoderma. I ain't mad.
Yeah, the Ganoderma.
I still remember.
It brings you back into homeostasis.
Right.
Good stuff, right? If you need to lose weight, you got the coffee. You need to gain weight. The coffee did that too.
Really?
Did everything you wanted.
Okay, I had to get some. That's crazy. You just told it to me. But so how long were you in that company?
Now, that was a long run. I was in that company almost 8 years.
Really?
Yeah.
And what type of success did you?
2009, my first year, I made $126,000.
Wow.
My first year. I didn't make 6 figures combined in 4.5 years in network marketing. My first 6 months in that company.
So what happened between 45,000? I'm talking about you're getting hit with, obviously you were in prepaid legal for a little while, then another company is getting people sick, another company, lawsuit. What made you say, yo, I'm gonna do it again?
I almost gave up. I almost gave up on network marketing. I was done. And I can't tell you what this gentleman told me because it's a little crass. But what he told me really made me think, okay, I'm going to keep going for it. I'm going to keep going for it. And I did. And I got a phone call from a gentleman that went on to be a mentor of mine.
Give me an edited version of what he said. I want to know what he said. Like,
okay, he said, have you ever been in a relationship? This is what he said. Have you ever been in a relationship with a girl? I said, yeah. He said, did you guys break up? He said, yeah. He said, so did you decide now that you were not going to talk to girls any longer? I was like, no. I said, no. I said, I'll just find another girl.
Right, for sure.
And that was what he said.
Okay, gotcha.
He said in different languages.
Right, for sure.
But that's the basis of what he said. So got the phone call, and I got a phone call from that gentleman about 6 months earlier, but my answer was no. I was going to stick it out in YTV, and people do that a lot of times, stick it out. Right. But now I was ready, got involved, and everything changed because now my environment was different. Yeah. I tell people all the time, if you're going to change, it has to start with your environment because you are a product of your environment. And my environment changed, and the information that I was listening to, that increased. Right. So I got exposed to The Secret actually in 2008.
Really?
Yeah. And that's what really started the ball rolling. Because for a long time I was so focused on the work. Yeah. You know, how to prospect, how to present, you know, and you need those things, the skills, right? But it was the mindset shift that changed for me. When I did that, when I learned that aspect of success, it was over.
So break that down, because the secret, it's like, you know, you speak it, you got to see it, manifest it, your goals. Mm-hmm. But I think some people take it left to where that's all you got to do.
Right.
But what is that balance?
Yeah, it's faith without works is dead, right? So you have to have the faith, but that real faith, that real belief is backed up by action. So if a person is just doing personal self-development and they know all the quotes, they know what to say, how to say it, but there's no action behind it, that's really not belief. That's just regurgitating information.
So your belief is dictated by what you do, not what you say or even what you see in your vision.
You can put the pictures up, you can speak it till you're blue in the face. If it's not backed up by work, then no, it's not belief. You're just going through the motions.
So with that first year, you made $126,000. $126,000. But what was the difference in your activity between the $45,000?
No different.
No different.
Yeah, I'd always been working hard the 4.5 years.
So
I was prospecting 5, 10, 15, 20 people a day. I was presenting every single day. I was at every meeting. I was at every event. So my activity didn't change. It was my belief that changed. It was the environment that changed. It was the people that I was around that changed. Because now I was around someone who had made millions of dollars in network marketing.
So are you saying you can do the same activity in a different environment?
Yes. Absolutely. The same seed planted in a different soil. All right? If it's good soil, if it's a good environment for that seed, it's going to grow. But that same seed, if you plant it on the ground, it's not going to grow. Even though the seed contains all that power, it contains all that success all in it, it still needs the right environment.
Speaking of maturity, I was in that other company, and I just heard the story of like how you decided to just like leave. And I would imagine it was some immaturity on the part of the people that were leading you at the time. And it was like, yo, you just got sick of it pretty much. Like, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I would imagine there was something that you didn't like, something about how the company was being run. And in that scenario, did you identify like they're too mature in business, or was it something else?
No. And let's be clear. These individuals, they owned the company. They weren't leading me. And I'm just saying that, you know, fair to say.
Explain the difference though.
I came into a company with my expertise, and I was able to take the company from a few hundred people to, as you mentioned, well over 20-some thousand people. So they brought a leader in to help build the company, right? They owned the company, which is important to note that when someone owns a company, they have the right to run it the way they want to. And because they owned the company and I didn't, I opted, if I didn't agree with the way the company was being run, I had to leave. Just that simple.
Got you.
Just like if somebody on your doesn't like the way you do things here, one option.
Right.
Right? It's not, it wasn't personal again. It was just if you don't like the way something is running and you don't own it, you have one option, and I chose that option.
Did you see a change in the owners of the company? Because I'm just playing a scenario in my head where, okay, I got a couple hundred people in my company, and you come in, and it runs to over 20,000, meaning the company is a lot more profitable. They're making more money. Did you see a difference in how they talked to you or approached you when you first got started, when they had a couple hundred?
Absolutely. The need, wasn't there anymore. I actually, the company, we took it up to 36,000.
36,000.
Yes. And, companies naturally want to increase their profitability, right? So people have a natural tendency to want to maximize their pleasure, minimize their pain. So at that point, it's 36,000 people. The owners had a right to, see how they could make it more profitable. And I felt like it was at the expense of the leaders who had created that success.
Did you say something? Did you say no, you can't do
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. Because ultimately, if the people are not happy, it's going to fall. Yeah. And that's what happened.
Let me ask you, last question on that. Do we get back to the criteria that you use? When you left, how much were you making from the company?
About $90,000 a month.
When you left? Hard to leave.
No.
No?
No, actually, if you know the story, I was terminated.
Were you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dang, to go from 90,000 a month to nothing.
0. To go from 36,000 people down to no people. Overnight.
Yeah. You know what's cool though? And I'm sure you probably agree that if you had been pleased with the way things were going, you'd probably be a fraction of the successful you are today.
We will never know. Right?
Yeah. I kind of know. Only because there are a lot of entrepreneurs where I look at my own life. Mm-hmm. I can attribute every success in where I am now to something that happened that was unfavorable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the only reason I say you'll never know is because we timing and positioning is everything. And the timing and position that we had, right, with some of the top minds, not only in the industry, but the people that you mentioned that you're good friends with, and I know that are honorable businessmen and women. We all were coming together at the same time. Now we're all, you're over there, this one's over there.
I see.
So the movement was stopped. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Individuals win games, teams win championships. We had a world-class team, and everything, all the stars were lining up.
Man.
So we'll never know. Donnie, as there's a group of champions that were assembled. Yeah. So that's why I say we'll never know.
Gotcha. So how do you get past that? I don't know if it's the insecurities, but getting past what people think, especially going from company to company, because somebody's been in network marketing for a while, and they might be thinking about signing up to your company, but they're thinking about all the people that have watched them jump from company to company.
Yeah.
How did they get over that?
The company doesn't matter, because there are people in every company that are succeeding, and there are people in every company that are not succeeding. So it's not what company you're in, it's not what industry you're in, it's who you are. It's who you are. And there's really a 3-step process here. You have awareness. This is what we teach people. You have to be aware of the power that's on the inside of you. There is so much power that's on the inside of the human spirit. It's almost godlike, if not godlike. It says that we are gods. Now, you're not big G-O-D, right? But you're little G-O-D. You are a portion of who God is. So the way that he creates is the same way you can create. The way he sees things is the way you can see things. How does he see things? He sees things, what? From the end. He can see the beginning and the end. So you can too. Yes, I see my situation right now, but I could also create the end with my eyes. Not my physical eyes, but with my godlike eyes. The ones that can see anything. I can close my eyes right now, I can see my home. I can close my eyes right now, I can see Dubai. But with my eyes open, I can see you, I can see that chair. It's very limited. But with my other eyes, I can create the life that I want. Wow. So I've got to become aware of this power. It says, greater is he that is in me than he that's in the world. So whatever challenges I'm facing in the world, there is something on the inside of me that's far greater than that. That's number one. Then once I'm aware of this power, now I've got to accept it. I have to acknowledge it. And acknowledge knowledge. Now I've got to gain the knowledge of what this power is all about. Studying, Science of Getting Rich, Stranger's Secret, Think and Grow Rich, Magic of Believing, going to the seminars. Now I'm gaining the knowledge, and that's forever.
Were you always a reader?
No.
Really?
Still not, honestly. Leaders are readers. I get it. I do audiobooks. I do audiobooks.
Right.
So I don't read it, but I'll listen to it, and when I listen to it, I don't listen to it one time. I don't listen to it 5 times. I don't listen to it 10 times. I don't listen to it 100 times. Thousands. Like, I went through years where every single moment of the day, personal self-development was played in my ear. I had an iPod. This is when the iPod was out, right? So I had my iPod and I had my phone. I had headphones going in one ear for my iPod, personal self-development, and I could be on the phone with you. Headphones.
Really?
And I had personal self-development playing and I was talking to you. The only time I did not have personal self-development playing was if I was doing a conference call or if I was doing a meeting. Other than that, while I was sleeping, personal self-development was playing. I was just out and about, prospecting, personal self-development was playing. I was on the phone, just a regular phone call, personal self-development, 24/7, because I had to change the programming. In my mind.
So it's not necessarily, because I listen to personal development and my mind wanders, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not 100% about like paying attention and being locked in.
All the time. See, your mind is going to pick up on different things at different times.
That I can't even pick up on. Huh?
Yeah, and you're gonna grow, right? So something you may listen to Think and Grow Rich right now, and then 2 years from now, listen to it again, and you're gonna hear something completely different. Life experiences. So I had a chance to go to Guatemala with John C. Maxwell, and it was a round table, and he was talking about success stabilizers, and he said that you're always going to need the opposite of everything. And if you don't have it, then it's going to cost you big time. Mm. And he talked about, if you have a lot of money, but no generosity, it's going to hurt you. If you have a lot of power, but no accountability, it's going to hurt you. So you have to put power and accountability together. Mm. You have to put money and generosity together. Mm-hmm. He said, David, you have to learn how to put success and failure together. Now, when he said that, my mind immediately went to, it's a coin. If I gave you a coin today and both sides were heads, you would automatically know it was a counterfeit. Mm-hmm. If I gave you a coin today and both sides were tails, you would automatically know it was what? Counterfeit. But if I give you a coin that had one side heads, one side tails, you would say, okay, this is a real coin. Mm-hmm. And that's what success is. That's what life is. It is heads and it's tails. And what you have to do is keep flipping the coin. Mm-hmm. So even though he said that to me, I immediately internalized it and said, okay, how do I teach this to make it much simpler for someone else to understand it? So when I'm learning, I'm not just learning to learn. I'm also learning to teach.
Which leads me to one of the biggest takeaways that I've received from you over the years. One of the first big lessons, major lessons that you taught me was you help enough people get what they want, you will eventually get what you want. And the success that you've been able to establish, even us, when you think about it, like it went to a different level when we began to serve more people. Sure. We've been able to help more and more and more people realize their dreams. And that's what you're doing in your company right now. You're helping more and more and more people free themselves and discover their own wins. And when that happens, you win at a bigger level.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
The last time we had a conversation, you were a part of a company and you're like the most successful Black networker in the world or something like that. Yeah, it was something like that. Just killing it. And what I've seen through the years, and I'm not like super in the industry, but like that most people have these waves of like this company, something always happens at the top and, you know, kind of maybe they push the good people out. I would like to know what happened if you didn't, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So my first big run was a coffee company. Mm-hmm. 2009. I'd never had success in the industry, and I found a mentor, and it was everything. Like if the man said jump, it was how high. Extremely teachable and coachable. And I think what happened was I started off as this cub, and 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm a full-grown lion. But the style of leadership was one lion and a pride. So if you are a lion, time for you to go. Like we can't. There can't be 2 full-grown lions here, or 3 or 4. It's not going to happen. So I knew my season was up, because in order for me to go where it is that I needed to go, I needed to have the freedom to become all that I could be. Now, I've learned from that. So now the individuals, the leaders, the men, the women that I do lead that do become full-grown lions and lioness, I don't try and hold them down. I want them to express themselves and be greater than I've ever done in this industry. And they're doing that today. That's what's so amazing about it. So I joined another company.
Well, what was that? I'm sorry. What did that feel like for you internally to be in this culture where you're growing, not just financially, but you're growing as a person? You got these life experiences, with this mentor. And then it's time to go on your own. Like any doubts, It
was tough. I had 6 months of chest pains. 6 months of waking up completely drenched in sweat.
Oh, wow.
Because the mindset, and we have to be very careful as leaders, because motivation and manipulation they're right there. They're right next to each other.
We were just talking about this earlier.
Motivation, inspiration is so important. It's me motivating you for your own benefit. Manipulation is me motivating you, but for my own benefit. And if you benefit, great, but it's really for mine. So the mindset that we were taught, and this is not speaking bad, it's just what it was. It was, you're successful because you're in the system. So in our minds, we're like, okay, the only reason why we're winning is because we're with this guy. And if we ever leave this guy, it could never happen. So I guess it was a defense mechanism for him. I guess it was a way to keep people in, because if you believe that you couldn't win without me, then you would never leave. Too bad.
Wow.
Too bad. My parents both were pastors, and they taught me that all success comes from God. It doesn't come from man. So eventually the Holy Spirit told me, he said, David, it wasn't him. It wasn't you. It was me. And if you trust me, not man, I'll do it even bigger, better, and faster. And that's when I got the release to move on. And I made about $8 million in that company in 7 years. And the next company I went to, my second full year in that company, I made all of that in 1 year.
Dang.
So he was right. He said he would
right.
do it bigger, better,
faster.
How did you decide that was the company you're going to leave your home for?
I didn't leave for the company. I left because that was not an environment that I could stay in any longer. One of the things I've taught people is that never stay in an environment where you're tolerated. Only stay in an environment where you're celebrated. If you are around people that do not want to see you succeed at a very, very high level, you've got to get away from people like that as quickly as possible, no matter who they are, because it's going to hold you back. So that's why I left. After I left, then the opportunity showed up.
Oh, so you made the move first.
And you were in limbo.
I was kind of like, what am I going to do? Because I love network marketing. I was kind of strike out on my own and go through the personal development route. But I've always liked having a vehicle that I could give people to utilize the principles that I was teaching them. So I could teach you faith. People go to church and they get faith, but they go back to work.
Yeah.
So there's no way to use it. Because you don't need faith at your job. You're going to get that check, or at least you better get that check, right? So I always wanted to have a vehicle like say, okay, if you use these principles I'm teaching you, here's a vehicle you can use to actually actualize the faith and the belief that I'm actually teaching you. So when that opportunity came about, it was really on happenstance. And it had to do with trading and investing. And I knew more about stocks than Forex or crypto or anything like that. But it was one part of the presentation where I said, man, people can win. And that's always been my driving force. Once I believe people can succeed at it, I'm all for it. And we went on in 5 years, a little over 5 years in that company, made $50 million in that company.
Wow.
5 years.
50 million.
I haven't made 50 million, period.
I haven't made 50 million in my life.
37. God,
Now watch this though. Remember what I said earlier?
Okay.
Your biggest successes will lead to your biggest failures.
Yeah.
Your biggest failures will lead to your biggest successes.
First things first, we got to stop saying that we've not made $50 million.
Because we've already made $50 million.
We made what? We made $50 million.
Let's go.
It's done.
There you go.
It's in investments right now.
Absolutely.
Tied up in investments
Tied up in
that are
investments.
growing and multiplying.
Every day.
So by the time we receive it, actually that 50 is going to be closer to like 80.
There you go.
That's it right there.
Words.
That's it, words. I'm saying that every single day. Real quick, before I move on, you said something earlier that I'm going to coin as my own.
Okay. At least you're telling me.
Motivation and manipulation, the way I wrote it down, are very close together, but you said something much more eloquently than, and I just want to get it right.
Right.
I'm giving you no credit at all for this, but I'm going to post this later today,
No
so I
doubt.
need it right. So you were saying?
Manipulation is when you motivate someone else to do something for your own benefit.
Your benefit.
Motivation, inspiration, the right way
The right
is
way.
when you're motivating them for their own benefit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Okay.
If so, manipulation
Okay.
is motivating people for
your
my own
For
benefit.
self-interest.
But let me put a spin on it. Motivation is motivating someone for their own benefit.
That's so prolific.
Clip that up.
You see how we get down on? You see how we get down on the social proof
So
podcast?
you got your own. She's got her own. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's all yours now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. David, you now, so you've gone from company to company, and every single time, like your grass really has been greener on the other side. But then there came a time where you decided that it's time for ownership.
Right.
Hold on.
You don't wanna go there?
We're
Okay.
too fast. Too
Okay.
fast. Because an environment where in 5 years you make more than you've made in your entire life.
Yeah.
In an environment where people trust you and people are growing from you and they're having the success. Listen, JL, shouts out to my brother. I saw him not only make a whole bunch more money when he left the situation he was in, but he became just a much better all-around person. Like that prolificism that I'm talking about, he's got it.
Absolutely.
Goodness,
Yeah.
great. The way he frames the conversation is incredible.
One of the best.
Yeah, for sure. Dressing way better these days.
But it's environment, because before Justin made that decision, he and I became really good friends. And I remember he was in limbo dealing with, what he was dealing with.
Right.
And the conversations that Justin and I were having are just not in alignment with the conversations that we'd have today. Like
For
he's
sure.
talking like the homie, and we're meeting and we're, we were trying to figure our lives out together. Like, what are we doing here?
Right. Absolutely.
And I actually was already in the company, and I remember telling him, like, you really should take him seriously. Like, I believe you guys had a conversation, and then David took like my best friend for me. David took my brother, because Justin was like, Justin was that guy at that time. We were like, he was like what you and I have. And then David comes along and he starts talking all this prolificism, in his ear, and he takes him. But Justin now is in the he wasn't in the environment to be the lion that he is.
Yeah.
And the
Same
moment
situation.
he comes
Same
under your leadership.
situation.
Same situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you hit it on the head, because you asked the question. I was going to try and avoid it, but you know what?
We're here.
Social proof. Why did I leave? Because, yes, at the time I was still making 6 figures a week when I resigned. All right. And it was
Want that
just
flex?
one thing that you have to pay attention to are your emotions. Most people think being emotional is a bad thing. It's actually not. We're emotional beings, and your emotions are derived from three things. They're derived from your circumstances, the mood that you're in, and then your relationships. And
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
Yes, your emotions,
Yep.
which is part of your soul.
Mhm.
Your emotions are part of your soul. They derive from three things that are happening.
Yes.
One, life circumstances.
Of course.
Two, the mood that you're in. Three, your relationships. If the relationship between you and Donnie remain as exciting and loving and challenging, because you guys challenge each other, I love it. You guys, if that stays the same, the sky is not the limit. It's when there's a conflict between individuals that don't get resolved, or someone feels a certain way about someone and they internalize it, and then eventually becomes a cancer. So you have to be very careful who you do business with. I made the decision, I said to myself, I no longer want to do business with these people. I don't care what I'm walking away from. My emotional state is more valuable than any amount of money, because money comes and goes. Money is like breathing at this point. Yeah. You can make it, you can lose it. That's not my barometer for success anymore. At one point it was, but it's not today. So relationships is one of the big reasons. And in relationship has to do with leadership. I teach something, it's in Think and Grow Rich. And I think everybody should read that book, but read and study the self-confidence formula. And it's in the chapter of faith. And number 5, which is the last step, at the very beginning, it says, no success, no wealth can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. And if you find yourself in an environment where truth and justice is no longer there, then it's going to fall eventually. And you have to be wise enough and courageous enough to make that decision.
What was probably in your business today, what was the hardest thing to figure out? And once you figured it out, you got excited about it?
When you met me, I was the leader of the team out, marketing. I became the CEO of the company. So the biggest challenge for me was transitioning from being a leader out, amongst the people to becoming the chief executive officer, right? Dealing with the banking, dealing with the IT, dealing with just the corporate business side of it. Yeah. That was the most difficult challenge for me because I love being amongst the people. I was really good at what you saw me do, leading people and doing those things. But it forced me to sit at my desk in my office and look at spreadsheets and really understand international banking, merchant service accounts and, the business side of the company that I own.
Yeah.
And at some point, because I love a challenge, I got really excited about it.
Really?
Absolutely.
Did you ever have a thought of quitting while you're in this process? Maybe not quitting the journey of success, but you start building your company and it's like,
no, brother.
Not once.
No, I'm a winner. When I put these feet on the floor, it's on. Yeah. It's like me thinking today on the way here, should I go? Should I? Nah. When you called me, and I was going to be here. That's how I do everything. How you do one thing is how you do all things. If I start it, I'm going to finish it.
And what keeps you motivated? I mean, there's a lot of...
I like to eat. I don't ever want to run out of money. People are living longer. My goals, right? I want to leave a legacy for my children's children. That's what keeps me motivated. Most people lose motivation because they finish the goal. I won't finish my goal until after I'm gone. My goal won't be realized till I'm dead and gone.
I've never heard anyone say that outside of Martin Luther King. Like I can't accomplish the goal while I'm living.
I will never personally realize my goal, because my goal is to leave a legacy and an inheritance for my children's children's children. The people that I've set my goal up for, I'll never meet them.
You'll never meet them.
I'll never meet them.
Dang. That's deep. Clap that up.
That's true. That's personal for me. I will never meet the people that I worked for.
I've never thought about that, because I'm thinking of like my son, my 2 daughters, my wife, just making sure, like my focus is teaching and educating them. But I guess I would even teach them in another way if my teaching was focused on teaching them how to teach their grandkids.
So Dave, there's money that I save that no human being alive will ever spend. There's money that's earmarked that I personally save that no human being that is alive will ever spend. It's to be passed on. There's other income that can be spent, right? Inheritance, whatever. But there's money earmarked that I personally save that no human being alive should ever spend. Savings is supposed to be what? Saved.
Yeah.
And once you spend it, it's no longer savings.
Yeah.
So there's money that I save that's earmarked to never be spent.
Which goes back to you saying people quit because they've accomplished the goal, but if you set a goal that can't be accomplished,
And you hit the goal, right? Like right now, you've got this set on what, 70 degrees, right? And once it hits 70, it's going to cut off the thermostat. People's thermostat stops. They set it at, I want to do this. Once they do it, you did it. I'll never do it.
You have multiple people in your company making a lot of money.
Absolutely.
Do you have any stats on that?
There are people making anywhere from extra $500 a month up to $105,000 a month.
And you create that. Like it has to. You have to feel good
Absolutely.
knowing that I am responsible for people's livelihood.
Dave, I sent out last week. I sent out the $170 millionth check, if that is a term.
The 170th.
Our Planet Marketing sent out over $170 million in commissions to the people who build this company. In commissions.
Golly.
Yeah. So absolutely, I feel amazing about it because of what I told you about earlier about poverty. As a result, there are single moms and single dads and stay-at-home moms that are able to live more comfortably, live in better neighborhoods, put their kids in better schools as a result of, the opportunity that I created. And absolutely, I feel amazing about it.
It's one thing to make $170 million. It's another thing to give it away.
Well, not give it away.
Well, pay it out.
Pay it out. Two different things, though. They earned it. And which makes people feel even better about it. If I give you something, right, versus you earn something, that means you have a skill set and you can repeat it. If I give you $10,000 or but you get to the point where you have created a skill set where you can earn $80,000 a year, $150,000 a year, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million a year. Which one? Would you want me to give you $1 million, or would you want to create a skill set where you can continue to duplicate that and show other people how to do it because you have a skill set now?